How's everyone today or this evening? Hey, Phil, how are you? Give me a second. I'll catch up with everyone who's here. Bring up the big screen, bigger screen, I should say. Phil, how are you doing? Hey, Environment. I don't know if Sniper is streaming today. I put it out there for him. I haven't heard back. There was some confusion about yesterday. Hey, Toy Pups. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Toy Pups, how are you? Manifested said had a great day. I had a business development meeting for my brand. Uh, He says she thinks it will work out and will help me with funding. Awesome. Hey, Lady Sky. I have an injured foot. I was just telling that to Kat. I don't know how I injured. It's probably re-injured. I injured it years ago in a race. Hey, Kat. And probably just a lot of pressure on it the past few weeks, maybe even a few months. All right. Bill said, Squirrel City's coming on. Well, let me make some changes then. We got some graphics to change. You can't have Sniper come up. I'm looking for that squirrel sniper. I might not be able to find it. Okay, we have changed the thumbnail to let people know what's going on. Let's see. Manifestor said, when I get my first batch of t-shirts, I will send you one, Eric, along with your painting I did. Awesome. Thank you, Phil. I will wear that shirt proudly. So I think with Sniper, it's going to be a free-for-all. You got questions? Sorry, guys. I'm working while you're here. Hey, it's free form, one word or two words. Okay. Hopefully that'll let people know that it is a sniper night. Ladies, guys says, how are you, Cat and Jack? Manifestor says, I know Once some things take off, my other things will take off too. Seems to work out that way, doesn't it? I think it's because we're feeling good. There's a lot to be said for feeling good. This is what Abraham Hicks would say, we're rising our vibration level. Everything changes when we feel good. You will match what you attract with your vibrational quality. If we are in a down place, generally speaking, we that's what we attack. That's what we attract, right? The ancient maxim, like attracts like. Phil says, my aim is in 5 years to give all profits to the charity Macon. Tell people who need it the most. Awesome. Well done. Well, that's a lot of steps. 25,000 steps today. That'll keep you in shape. Guys, I see our friend Toy Pups. She's live. She's doing a brain teaser. Hey, you still here, Environment? So to answer your question, Phil said he had just talked to Sniper, and Sniper says he'll be coming up in a few. Good. Glad you're here, Environment. So latest guy says, I washed my dishes today, Yogi. Got water again. Awesome. When did hey Sherry. Good evening, peeps. Close my eyes though. So I think we'll do like an hour or so, questions and answers with Sniper, and we'll call it a night. I will close my eyes as well. I'm glad you got your water back. Since yesterday morning. Phil says, I have literally not stopped eating since I've been sober, but I'm now trying Kenzai, which is Japanese method. Step 2 is only eating half your portion, wait 20 minutes, then if still hungry, then finish food. Common sense. The Japanese are filled with common sense. FX says, Sai, I'm a philosopher and a script writer. What kind of scripts do you write? I have a question. Why do you have such a good jawline? Have you been mewing? I have not. Funny that you said that because I was talking about mewing yesterday. Well, I was not talking about mewing. I was talking about swallowing your tongue, which is a yogic technique. Can produce certain states of consciousness. You literally put your tongue back and it's like you're attempting to swallow it. What's this as mewing? And that brought up mewing. Kat, are you still here? What do you think of that synchronicity? This guy says, I think about pipe might have burst due to the winter storm we had a few weeks ago. Yogi T-Dot was working on it up the road. Oh, wow. Tennessee Department of Transportation. Did I get that right? How's it going, Wassa? FX says, at first you remind me of some of my psychopaths in my script. Oh yeah, I get that all the time. Um, it's a crazy look in the eyes. See axe hanging in the background. Manifesto says, "What is viewing?" I don't know the actual technique, but it involves um, raising the tongue up, I believe, up towards the mouth, up to the tongue, up towards the roof of the mouth. No, as you face from the side, and the cheekbones and all that. Gotcha. I definitely have cheekbones. They tie the cheekbones. They tie the jawline into place and the temple, and then the skull. Isn't that how the song goes? Hey, Dolly. Ladies guy says yes. Correct. Tennessee Department of Transportation. Phil says, I joined a club called Men's Shed. It is a carpentry workshop. Um, my first project is making a kennel for my Xena. Awesome. Sherry says, I think mewing is a technique some dentists come up. I think so. Thank you so much, Dolly. Los Villanova, Yogi, hello. Hello, my friend. This guy says, hi, Dolly. What's it says? Just navigating all the tyranny and cowardice in the land of the free, home of the brave. Example? Much love to you too, Dolly. Tiger King says, so there, Eric and I've been with my grandma all day because my granddad had gone into the hospital and it's not looking great and it's not looking good. I'm not in a very good way. Any possible chance? Prayers, Tiger King. That was spooky. Didn't expect to see that right off the bat.
Hello, everyone. It's been a
How are
busy
you?
night. I've got a house full of children. I've ended up after a party somewhere in the village.
Uh,
So they're all downstairs in the basement. Having fun on the PlayStation. How is everyone?
Good.
Happy
I
Friday?
build this as a question and answer free form.
Yeah, just wing it. If
Um,
anyone has any questions.
yep. First off, I want to say, hey, our friend Los Villanova, it's Hammer, Harvey. Hammer here. Nobody knows the name anymore.
Yeah.
I've ignored. It's okay. I'm here though. I don't need to be known. I remember now, Hammer. Hammer, you yourself, I always know. But the new channel, yeah, it threw me. It threw me at first. So, guys, we're doing questions and answers for with Squirrel Sniper.
Hi, lady.
Maybe particularly you want to ask if you've been following along on his channel, what he's been working on, as well as any of the past Esoteric Cafe. Throw it out there. Hey, Tiger King, his grandfather's in the hospital, and he asked if I could use the whistle for him. So we're going to do that real quick. And then we have a first question after I do this. Tiger King, this is for you. This is for your grandfather. Prayers, my friend. All right, you ready for the first question?
Yeah, let's shoot. What have we got? From Manny.
Question: what is your first memory of realizing religion might be deceiving us?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, Manny. It goes all the way back to when I was single figures at a Christian boarding school. But we had I had friends from all over the world, different races, different religions, different backgrounds. One thing in common: everyone was rich, but we were all learning the New Testament. And it was a simple question when I asked, why aren't we reading the Old Testament first? Because obviously it came before. And that was enough to separate me from the believers at that moment in time. And then looking at everyone from different religions, and we were just learning Christianity, I kind of, realized that just it matters where you are in the world to what religion you become, It's not forced down your neck, it's just where you are at that moment in time. And there are, aspects like money that can make things happen. So when you look at it as an 8-year-old and you're trying to make sense of everything, and yet it's being pushed down your throat, I kind of had that instant auditor in me to stand back and just observe, from a very young age. That's what it was about, seeking the truth, is try not to jump down the rabbit hole straight away. Because you don't know what you're going to get yourself into. You need to observe the landscape, understand where you are at that moment, and then you're always working backwards as well, because you always miss things. And like you said in the Book of Miracles, how many times have you missed certain little snippets that have revealed so many different pathways? It's about using our discernment. And sometimes it just slips through the gap for that second. But that little second is the important bit that we could have missed completely. It's a bit of a long.
Phil also wants to know, okay, part two. What film made you think about life the most?
When I was brought up on the other side of the camera, don't forget, I was witnessing the fourth wall that you never get to see. That fourth wall that's behind the camera. And so films they can be manipulative. They can also be revealing the truth. They can help us create our imagination, which is most important. Imagination is a skill that gets drummed out of us by the time we're 12, 13 years old. It stays with some of us. We'd have that artistic flair. But for the majority of us, education has wiped out that part of our thinking. And that's our manifesting by using the imagination. It's our imagination has been finely tuned to a frequency that hinders our possibilities. And so film, I do like the very sci-fi films. I did like the time traveling kind of truth seeking. That Tom Cruise one was quite good. Inception. that kind of triggered quite a bit back then, not to the degree that it is now. I'd love Space 1999. The whole series. It was a British. I don't think you got it over there, but it was kind of like a Star Trek that we
Right.
had over here.
Yeah, we did get it.
Yeah, and that kind of, it gave you the ideas that, there is this possibility, but then you look at the agenda and how that all unfolded the year before man even went into space. We had Space 2001. So the whole pre-programming was already in place through the TV. You knew what you were going to expect to see, or kind of expect to see, through the magic of Hollywood before reality. You see, Hollywood plays its part with placing a code resin baseline. And that is quite a long-winded word, but it's a word that I've come up with, that when we're told something, we hold it as a truth until we find out it's not. And when we find out it's not the truth, and we hear the truth resonates on a certain frequency, and that frequency overrides any previous belief or thought that we had. And that goes right the way down into our DNA. It almost activates the dormant DNA that's inside us. That resonates to tell us this is the absolute truth. And that can only be done through stepping away from the system's way of keeping us prisoned here, as it were. This all may sound really crazy, but this is where I'm at the moment.
Sherry wants to know, have you ever seen the movie Revolver? She feels it's all about the ego. Wondering your take.
What's that? Sorry. It was just have a look at that. Have I ever seen the film Revolver? Yes and no. I definitely have seen it, but I think there's more of a storyline to it than what it actually first portrays me. Many do go deep into the subconsciousness. So it's a film that I'd have to kind of watch again, but I certainly will.
Manifestor also wants to know, what would the title of your life story? What would be the title of your life story?
Oh, God knows. I never thought about that one. My life's not over yet, so I couldn't say that. Ask me on my deathbed. No, I haven't a clue. You've put me on the spot there, Manny.
It might come to you
It's certainly something to ponder.
as we talk.
Yeah,
Manifest instead of work in progress.
exactly.
Um,
Just connecting the dots. All I've done is I've connected the dots. And it's all started from my research into Marconi. And Marconi was responsible for creating the radio.
Right.
And broadcasting, which is sending information through the ether through the atmosphere. If I say atmosphere, it's easier for the ears. Because if I say ether, then half of you will go, "Oh, I've heard of that before," but that's, debunked, or they've heard it's been debunked, or it's a word that they haven't heard of, therefore they shouldn't really listen. But that's all it is. And for the science today to say there could be a possibility that ether is responsible for half of the things that they can't explain, and for them to actually have it as scientific period from the early 1900s, and that work never gets touched, it's always fringe, it's on the edge, so it gets a little bit of mentioning but never any funding. But that's the control mechanism.
Um,
And I'm hoping I've kind of bridged that gap.
so I have a question.
Mm.
Why Marconi? What drew you to explore that, as opposed to
Well,
say, uh,
this is all to do with synchronicity, Eric. Marconi synchronized time with Greenwich Mean Time. So no matter where you are in the world, you're either 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours in front of the Greenwich Mean Time or behind Greenwich Mean Time. That's how the world runs. And that Greenwich Mean Time is on the 0 longitude meridian. So it's set in place, a physical node, as it were. It has a place in space, which is very important because that's bridging the gap again. Now, Marconi sent his first signal in 1902. He sent it over 2,000 kilometers from Canada to Cornwall. And it was the letter S. S for squirrel. And S in Morse code is 3 dots. And all I'm doing is putting the dots together. This is where synchronicity comes into it. Now, Marconi, I was born in Essex, in England. Marconi's facilities are in Essex. They have 2 facilities. They have one in Chelmsford, where I lived in Chelmsford, and they have the old Second World War facility, which was in Great Baddow. And I lived in the next village from Great Baddow. This was all before Marconi. And now where I live now, this is where Marconi did most of his experiments from. And it's all linked to do with the area that's around me, because I'm surrounded by chalk. And so if you know the properties of what chalk and quartz are, it holds a frequency and a signal. And quartz amplifies signals. That's why we have it in remote control devices. The crystals that are in the remotes. And all I've done is just listen to my synchronicities.
um, Manifesto wants to know, for a long time, he thought photography from its first form through cameras, now as it was magic. Do you think Marconi used esoteric knowledge, kind of magic?
Let's have a look. Part 4. For a long time, I think photography is part of the first form through cameras, as it was magic. Do you think Marconi uses esoteric knowledge? Marconi got his ideas through Tesla. Now, Tesla got his ideas from an elderly scientist who was from Bulgaria. And he was a very elderly gentleman. He was a cripple. He had calipers on his legs. This was back in the 1890s. And all the famous people are standing there, and he's standing right in the middle, in the center, this little guy. And his main thesis was "As above, so below," which is the title of my work, my forensic work. Now, there was Operation Paperclip after the Second World War, where certain scientists from certain countries were taken by other certain countries to aid and gain certain advances in technology. The Americans took them. But so did the British.
Right.
Marconi took a handful and they started working on two particular areas. One was as above, as in space exploration, and as below, as in sonar exploration using radar. Both using radar, basically. And for years, for maybe 30 years, they were having no luck at all whatsoever in the as above department. They had an operation fishbowl. Now you can imagine what a fishbowl looks like, Miss Blipper. This is synchronicity, yes, again. Operation Fishbowl was to fire nuclear warheads into the upper atmosphere. And they all detonated at a certain height because they hit something at 9 kilometers. Now in 1980s, Marconi retrieved all the data from the 1950s, and it was collaborated with the Marconi scientists that were doing the as below. And to their surprise, the telemetry was identical. Which can only mean one thing, that as above is the same kind of medium that they have problems with as down below, as in it's a fluid and not a vacuum. Now during the 80s, we had the Falklands War. You must remember the Falklands War, being as it's quite nearer to you than what it was to us.
Right.
It was involving the Argentinians. But at the same time, the British were bringing out a new torpedo called the Stingray Mark 1. So, a conspiracy theorist would put two and two together and think, there's an opportunity to test out millions and millions of pounds of funding to see if it actually works, as it was a submarine warfare battle. That's just a conspiracy theorist talking. But the mainstream answer that you will get was Argentine wanted the Falklands Islands back, and they landed some troops on there, but unfortunately the Falkland Islands were also the training grounds for the SAS and the Gurkhas. And so, it was a glorified stand of 30 men versus 400, 450. And it was sold to us. Now, the alternative story is that Fuel Island, which is based in the Sandwich Islands in the southern Pacific, is the closest group of islands to Antarctica. Fuel Island was a research laboratory, and deep within the ice there was a research centre, and supposedly a sential oil, a black goo, was brought from the deep cold and taken to Marconi. Now, I fell for this because I was still thinking in binary, as it were. But I followed the breadcrumbs, and instead of believing what they wanted us to believe, I then researched that the deaths of the 22 Marconi scientists between 1985 and 1991, their verdicts were all suicide and closed cases. And there was even a government review held 2 years after the last case. And they said it was all to do with stress. They were all stressed, but they were all working on the same project. So this is where the black goo came in, and it was the cover story. They had to have something. But I actually investigated every single one of the scientists and what they were actually working on. And so there had to be silence because of the lead that they actually had in their hands. And each of the deaths had to be done in such a way so it warned any other scientists that were even connecting the dots. I mean, this was 40 years ago, almost 40 years to the day, which means that the Freedom of Information Act comes around. And due to the fact that the Mark II Stingray was officially open and is in use at the moment, They cannot hold previous information because it's an old technology. So this is what happens when you do a forensic audit. Everything starts to fit into place like a jigsaw puzzle. The data that I got from all the scientists has verified a lot of things that completely go against the mainstream narrative. And it's also stopping us from advancing. That's why it's held secret. Until now.
Yep. Tiger King has a question for you. He's writing a play for the first time about First World War. Has he got any tips? This is his first playwright ever.
About the First World War. Well, if I was to say there were more shell soldiers
I'm going to be right back, so keep going.
Than any other war. From what I've read from the First World War, the technology was advanced so much that doing harm from such a distance without even having to see them was, a thing that should never, ever have to happen. And it was indiscriminate as well. But then any war it's designed for us to lose our energy whenever we mention it. There has never been a time where there hasn't been a war.
I have another question for you. And you talked to Manny about your early experience with religion, why you turned away from it. Is there any organized religion that resonates with you, even on a smaller level?
I did look into Buddhism. I certainly did, but then that had its almost materialistic side to it as well. There's a lot that's caught up that want to do good, and they realise they have to live as well. So they go about it the wrong way. I think you can't be a Buddhist in a Western society. It just doesn't resonate. The system will automatically challenge you, whereas when you go back to the system where it belongs, it's a matter of fact, and there is no question. So it's how we perceive things where we actually are. We can't judge things because of how we feel where we are, because that's just where you are. You could be anywhere. When I was a kid, at about 8 years old, looking around me, there was children from every corner. We all have our own intuition that separates us. Last
Phil's got
question.
Phil's got another question. Can you see it?
Yeah. If there is no God or afterlife, what is the point of life? I can't see any reason why any of this would happen if there was no design. Well, let's just say this is one big game, right? Cool. Now, the fool always starts off. It's the first card in any pack. Even in the pack of cards, the Joker is the first one you see when you open it up. The transformation is the Joker to the Wizard. That's our path. When we realize that reality isn't actually what it is, first of all, we're shocked. This is the discernment. When we realize we've been tricked innately, indirectly. Our parents didn't know they were tricked too. Everyone's been tricked.
Hey, Mir.
Afterlife. Let's just say we're having our own experiences here.
Still there? I think we might be losing you a bit, Sniper.
I'm still there.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe we're the echoes, I should say, of where we actually are. In the sense that when we're awake, we're asleep. And when we're asleep, we're in a dream. Yet, when we wake, we are actually in the dream. But when we know that we're dreaming, we're not asleep. We're awake to the fact that we are dreaming. When we can get past that thinking, It lets us observe, normally just fly by us with good intention, because it would pretty much break us. This is, when we break our own paradigms, what it's all about. It's not seeking the comfortable answer. It's never been about that. The classic film line, you can't handle the truth. They want you to have that inside your programming, that you can't handle the truth. Of course we can, because when it resonates, we know. And when another soul says something that resonates, it binds that fact. If that resonance came from the original source, or was it fed to you by Hollywood without any discernment? One of the first guys that joined NASA came from Paramount Pictures. Funny that. Tiger King.
One of the last things Phil had said was about
I think his play.
who would write the script.
Who'd write the script? Yeah, good question. Cheech and Chong.
Definitely Up in Smoke.
Up in Smoke. I don't know, maybe Oliver Stone. He's one of the top actors.
I used to very much.
Well, there is the Rossini.
I used to resonate with the yogic Hindu concept of Lila, that everything is God's play, and that as with every play, you have to have the drama, you have the comedy, you have the violence and the peace. You have everything that makes it interesting to participate in. I don't know if I
laid out before. Just the way that the Bible is presented to us. Think back, everyone's just in their gowns on stage, acting it out.
So Phil says
it's presented us to like a stage script. If you look at it in that sense, how it's broken down.
Phil had said, surely if it's a game, something has to make it. It doesn't create itself. We're losing you a bit. We lost you on that bit, Sniper.
So, hear me now?
Try. You're coming in and out. That sounds good.
But now I'm near the Wi-Fi now.
Lost you again.
Loop. And the 1 and the makes the 3. And the 4 and the 2 make the 6. The 6 and the 3 make the 9. There is no 10. That is to perpetual, as Tesla said, you know, it is possible. It wasn't possible at the time with the tools that they had, the materials they had. It certainly is possible now, and I think that they're spending so much money on trying to figure it out, but they're doing it the wrong way around. They're adding to the binary system that they've already got. They need to step away from binary logic of linear thinking.
So, anyone just coming in? Any questions you want to ask, Sniper? So, if no questions, I'm going to ask one more, and then we'll probably wrap things up.
Yeah, sure.
What's next? In the direction that you go,
Well,
what unfolds next?
what's next? Who knows? I'm holding off on the possibilities until I fully get it completely locked down and patented. But I'm hoping that what I've accomplished through this audit is going to sort out some of the mess, if not all of the mess. I don't know how just yet, but what I've created is something that is accountable, and that's something that's rare. Something that has got 100% trust. That's what we always talk about. It's trust. Having trust. When you have something that is 100% trustworthy, it should be for everyone. This could easily go down the wrong road by it going into the wrong hands, and it can only be, accessed by a few people. So it'll be interesting to see where we go from here.
When's your video going to drop?
Oh, it'll be tonight. It'll be in the next half an hour.
Good.
I've recorded it already. I'm just going to finish it up. But yeah, see how it goes.
So, guys, stay tuned.
Yeah.
Any themes that you're thinking of for next week?
No, I might do a poll actually to see if anyone's got any good ideas where I should look into. Yeah, even if it's something that they already know about,
Right.
because, like I said, when you go over something and you look at it with another pair of eyes, it can open up a whole new avenue. Yeah, exactly that, Falcon. The bough of a tree. Trust it takes your weight.
It would be interesting to talk about channeling sometime, as we've had some channelists, but not just in a regular sense, but well, maybe in a regular sense. You know, some people said Tulsa channeled is getting a high.
Well, it ties in. It ties in
Well,
with
I was
this
going to
work
ask
as
you,
well.
do you feel like you're channeling?
Because, yeah, absolutely. And I'm channeling it through synchronicity.
Hey, did I tell you?
And it's the synchronicity. I mean, even from the American football that was on. Now, I should have nothing to do with American football. Do you get me? I should have absolutely nothing to do with the sense of the system that they have created. But from a early child, my parents, my father was working in the States, and he got one of the original Pittsburgh Steelers and the Green Bay Packers, the flags that you get from 1971, 1972. So my entire child life, I've been seeing these flags, and they're from my father. He gave them to me, and and I've had them all this time, 52 years. They're hanging just there on the wall. And so that is an emotional bond with a place that I've never been to, Eric. I have no connection to, but it's through love. And that has a huge part with accessing the psychic abilities. That's the only way I could put it down to.
Right. Hey, Mark. It's going to be interesting to see how everything unfolds. Not for the, maybe I should do a disclaimer, not for the faint of heart. Manifestor said, one day I did a stream. I said Squirrel's name, and a truck with his surname went by. All right, well, we'll wrap things up. I look forward to seeing your video.
Yeah, it'll pop up. It'll pop up. Either you'll see it first thing in the morning, or yeah.
Voice out of the darkness.
Cool. Well, I wish everyone a good night. Yeah. I just had really bad eyes today, so it's quite nice in the dark.
Right.
Oh.
Okay, Sniper, once again, thank you.
All right, I wish everyone a good night.
You too.
Cheers, Eric.
Yep. We're going to head out too, guys. I'm going to go to bed. A little bit of pain. I got a hurt foot, which throws off my
Yeah.
cranky knee, which throws off my creaking back. So I'm dealing with some pain issues right now.
Get the onions out.
You're welcome, Phil.
You got yourself a good onion. All right, night all.
All right. Night, Sniper. Guys, no, Phil, no problem for the questions. I enjoyed them, and I know Sniper did too. So, all right, we're going to head out. Love you guys.